Yes, okay, I'm asked to go to the middle. Thanks for your continued presence here, inspiring and at the same time fully participating in the debates. I think we can say that now, after more than 3 extremely intensive days of events, presentations and engagements in this space, this has been the place to be during the high-level General Assembly week. So I thank again the partners that have made possible this space, in particular Public Foundation, GSMA and others, because it's been a terrific place to understand better the debates, the dialogues and the decisions of leaders, prime ministers and engagements of the civil society. But now we are even going further. We have been discussing here amongst us, but now I'm going to introduce 2 colleagues. Dan Thomas, the Director of Communications of the President of the General Assembly, and the dear friend Alaa Murabit. She's an SDG advocate, and they are going to take you far away from here to a major place in the world, which is very close to our minds and hearts, because there are many things happening there, and we want to hear from the protagonists of a very difficult situation. I'm going to turn immediately to Dan and to Alaa.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Christina. Thank you to the audience for joining us. We're also being joined by a webcast audience. We're using the hashtag SDG Live. I'm very excited. We've got 2 gentlemen on the line live from Aleppo in Syria. The gentleman closest to me here is Dr. Hamza Al-Khatib, who for the last 4 years has been working as a doctor in East Aleppo in Syria. He's running one of the few remaining hospitals which has been targeted 3 times. He's a regular guest on BBC and Channel 4 News. We're delighted to have connected with you, Dr. Hamza, on Skype. And next to you, also on the screen, Ismail Al-Abdullah from Aleppo. He's 29 years old. He's been teaching English, and recently he's took part in establishing the White Helmets, part of a civil defense group in Aleppo that saves lives, pulling people out of the rubble after bomb attacks. This group's been nominated for the Nobel Prize. I'd also like to thank Dr. Alaa Murabit very much for joining us, our SDG advocate. We saw you on the stage of the General Assembly just at the beginning of this week. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. And also for helping to arrange this session, I want to thank Henrik Grunet and our friends at the International Media Support, mediasupport.org, for all their help in connecting us to these gentlemen and setting it up. So without further ado, I'm going to go live to Aleppo, to Dr. Hamza. I hope you can hear us, Dr. Hamza. Maybe you can just nod your head, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to hear you. I believe that there was an attack only last night in Aleppo. Tell us about that attack. Media reports are saying that at least 7 people, including 3 children, died in that attack.
Hello, I couldn't hear you. I didn't hear your question because your voice just went out. Okay. What I understand that you are asking about the attack about yesterday?
Yes.
So when the regime decided to stop the ceasefire 3 days ago, suddenly at 7 p.m., the attacks had never stopped since then. So there are many attacks at the last 3 days. Yesterday at midnight, there was about 12 phosphor attack over one neighborhood called Bustan Al-Qasr. At the day, there were many explosive barrels at Sukri neighborhoods, which made a huge destruction in the buildings, and many injuries has rushed to our hospital and the other hospitals inside of Aleppo. The total number of dead people yesterday only was about 45 persons only yesterday inside of Aleppo.
45, so that's quite a difference from what the media has been reporting of 7 people. Describe the conditions, if you would, in your hospital. What are the conditions in your hospital today?
For today, there was many attacks in several neighborhoods inside of Aleppo. الصالحين, المشهد, السكري, العامرية. Many neighborhoods have been attacked. The normal day of the doctors and the medical workers inside my hospital or any other hospital usually began with waking up with the sound of an explosive barrel or an airstrike over a closed neighborhood. Then we had many patients and injuries rushed to the hospital. We have lack of everything, the medical supplies, medical devices, medicines, everything is reducing each day. In spite of all of that, there are not enough fuel for the generators to work, to reduce electricity. And that's a big problem. In spite of all of that, we are threatened to be attacked at any moment. That many injuries, small injuries, refuse to go to the hospital to take the treatment or to bandage their wounds. They say it's okay. We will do that in our home. We are fine. Just don't move us to a hospital. It's a dangerous place. So that's the situation inside of Aleppo.
Thank you, Dr. Hamze. Maybe you can explain to us how many doctors and nurses you have working in your hospital today, how many patients you're dealing with. What has your day today been like? Can you describe it to us?
I'm sorry, but the internet signal is very weak. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, let me repeat the question. Tell us about the day you've had today. It's, I think, about 7:30 in the evening where you are in Aleppo. What has your day been like today? How many patients do you have? How many doctors working? How many nurses on duty?
At the time being, we are 5 doctors inside the hospital, 2 internal medicine doctors, and me as an emergency doctor, pediatric doctor, and a gynecology doctor. We hadn't stopped working since the main idea that I want to say about our daily life. All of the questions or all the media thought about injuries and trauma cases. We have civilians inside of Aleppo, and we have normal patients. Stomachache, headache, and cardiology cases, nephrology, pediatric, oncology. So the few remaining hospital inside of the city is taking handling a lot of pressure and a lot of patients, a huge number of patients that each hospital have to deal with. Today, we have seen in our hospital, up till the moment, about 120 patients in the outpatient clinic and the emergency room. These are normal patients. We had about 20 injuries up till the moment. Thanks God that there wasn't an attack in closed neighborhoods. So the other hospitals, like in the H2 hospital in Al-Ma'adi, had more amount of injuries because the attacks and the shelling was focusing on that area. Now we usually have lunch at that time because it's the patients reduced at that time. hopefully that nothing will happen at the evening like the last night.
And I believe that you have a family. I don't suppose you see a lot of your family because you're working every day in the hospital, saving lives and helping people. How is your family coping with the situation, the daily life inside East Aleppo?
Actually, 2 weeks ago, me and we decided to move completely to the hospital because as you have said, we don't have enough time to see each other, neither my wife or my baby. So we decided to completely move to the hospital. So now we have a room that maybe 3 by 4 meters. That's our home now. So that I can be on call 24/7, and that's where we wake up, we sleep, we had lunch, and we live there. It's very hard to adapt with the circumstances of Aleppo. That thinking about having milk for my child, or that we maybe not have enough food for the upcoming days. In spite of all of that, we are threatened that one of us may be killed at any moment. And at any second, we had injuries and patients. So maybe for the past 2 years, we have decided mentally to stop thinking about the upcoming days. We are living only day by day, not thinking about tomorrow at all. It's a better way mentally to live. That when coming at night to sleep, we are happy that we are survived at that day. It's a small victory for us that day, hoping to win the other battle for tomorrow and to survive that day.
Thank you so much for joining us and explaining that to us. Let's just give a chance to talk to Ismail Al-Abdullah. Ismail, you are an aid worker. I don't suppose you've had a lot of aid to deliver recently. Tell us about what you're doing every day in Aleppo.
Actually, one of the people in Aleppo city who scared about his life, about his future, about every day. Aleppo city since about 20 days under the siege, and we don't have enough food. We don't have enough medicine. We suffer of lack of medicine. Actually, every day is difficult. Every day is difficult for everyone in Aleppo city, and I one of them, who now think about that the people in Aleppo city now are afraid about the food, about the milk for their kids, about everything actually. In Aleppo city, we don't have a general electricity. All what we have, just as Dr. Hamza said, that special generators for some neighborhoods for the hospitals, just 3 or 4 hours of electricity. Then maybe after 15 days, we will run out of everything out of fuel, and we do not have electricity anymore. That will be a big problem for the people and for the hospital, for everyone. In addition to the bombing, the heavy bombing, which started after the ceasefire ended, it was like hell on the people and on me. Actually, I was stuck in my house because of that bombing. It was like hell. Airstrike, barrel bombs. Just in 2 hours, 30 people were killed, and many people were under the rubble. Our teams, rescue team, went and worked for 24 hours just to get the people from under the rubble. At the beginning of the morning, yesterday, we have a really heavy bombing. Heavy bombing. It's happened just yet. It didn't happen before. We had 2 helicopters in the sky with 2 airplanes targeting the gathered with the people who gather in hospital and markets, targeted the neighborhood which are crowded with people. Actually, I'm talking about the west neighborhoods of Aleppo city. It's totally different, and the situation has become worse and worse. When the ceasefire happened, the people somehow get back to their normal lives, and they celebrate Eid, and the kids who walk in the streets, and everything was changed in that 7 days. But after the 7 p.m., it was like hell on the people. 45 people were killed according to civil defense sources. I emphasize on this because civil defense gave us this number. 45 people were killed yesterday. In the first night, that 30 people were killed just yesterday. First bombs burned one of the big neighborhoods in Aleppo city. 12 phosphorus bombs, and today, from the morning up to now, from just the morning, we have 20 parent bombs hit Aleppo city, and 3 people killed today. It's in general, living in Aleppo city is like, if you survive, it's like miracle. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. If you walk to your job, like Dr. Hamza or me, or if I go to my school, then maybe I will not go back. If I go back to my house, maybe my building will collapse. I will see it collapsed and everything destroyed. This is the situation.
Thank you so much for sharing this with you. I mean, we can only imagine what it must be like living there. 5 years of conflict, 5 years of bombardment, 5 years of a growing death toll. I'd like to hand over to Dr. Alaa Murabit. You're an SDG advocate. We're here at the United Nations talking about sustainable development, how we can develop the world in a sustainable way, and the 2030 agenda. What's your comment on what we've heard and the situation in terms of the bigger picture?
Well, first and foremost, I think that, and I think I can kind of amplify probably everybody's thoughts in this room when I say that these 2 gentlemen are heroes, and we feel wholly inadequate. I think hearing what you do every day, the work that you do, and the fact that you are doing it, yes, with your communities, but really alone, is phenomenal. And I can only hope and pray that you stay safe, and that you and those who are like you, and are doing, I think, God's work and work that needs to be done in their communities are the ones who really kind of end up leading Syria into the future years. So first, I would like to give you guys a round of applause, first and foremost. Now, I genuinely, I feel wholly inadequate. I have been to numerous countries in the world. I was living and working in Libya throughout our revolution in 2011, and I cannot imagine what your daily experiences are like. I cannot imagine waking up every morning, having to move your family into the hospital with you simply so you can see them. And still worrying about if they're going to be okay, because we all know hospitals are no longer safe in places of conflict, and often are the first places that are besieged or attacked. So the one thing I think I can ask, because I can't really reflect on anything except for a question of, there are so many people, individuals around the world watching this here who want to do something, who want to be able to reach you somehow and the work you do. So either through your hospital or through White Helmets and the work you do. What can we do in our individual capacity as citizens? What can we do to be of the most benefit to you? Is it amplifying the work that you're doing? Is it donating? Is it sending, speaking with pharmaceutical companies and medical companies and trying to get those resources there? But what can we do to be of benefit to you?
Actually, I guess the most common answer is donating and having aids. But actually, that's not solving the main source of the problem. What we really need inside of Aleppo and all of Syria for that al-Assad regime, that is the main criminal and the main source of the problem, to be moved away. And it's not politically easy to happen, then only a no-fly zone, like what happened in Libya, no-fly zone will solve the main source of the problem, which is the aircrafts. So sending medical aids, food, fuel, blankets, building the camps outside of Syria is not solving the problem. It's only making us survive longer. That let's speak about Aleppo. Now we are besieged inside of Aleppo, so sending food for us will make us not die in the next 3 months. It will make us die in the next 1 year. So it's not solving the problem. It's not solving the roots of the problem. What we need really is a no-fly zone and a real stand and action for the big countries and the world leaders to stop those attacks and to say that it's enough for killing the Syrian citizens.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe I can turn to Ismail Al-Abdullah. It must have been devastating for the people of Aleppo when a very short ceasefire really came to an end last night with that deadly attack. You said 45 people killed overnight, last night in Aleppo. How was that ceasefire? Was there some hope for a while that peace may come to your city?
Actually, the ceasefire, let me say about the people. People say that this ceasefire maybe will maybe in the future something new, something that pave the way for a peaceful solution, to stop the bombing, to stop the killing, to give hope for the kids, to give hope to all the people in Aleppo city. But we know that it's not. We actually, deep inside, we know that we do not trust those who reach the agreement, because we know that many times they broke the ceasefire before the 5 months when we had the ceasefire before this ceasefire, and after that the ceasefire, that was a heavy bombing actually at that time, and the same situation happened after the ceasefire. And what I would like to say about the first question, what we need actually, we need something to put pressure on the Assad forces and the Russian intervention, to stop the Russian intervention, to stop the killing, to stop the bombing, which actually at least stopping targeting civilians. It's our right that civilians. It has nothing to do with this conflict, if you call it conflict.
Dr. Murabit, any last thoughts about this situation that we're seeing? 5 years of war in Syria, still apparently no end in sight. People living through a daily nightmare of killing and bombing, hospitals running out of supplies, running out of power, people dying every day, 500,000 almost people, Syrians who have died so far over the last 5 years. Many others fleeing for their lives from Syria. How can the international community, do you think, help resolve this situation? What do we need to do more of, do you think?
I think that, we heard it best from Hamza, is that at the end of the day, we have to start asking ourselves, as long as we continue not to engage fully and wholeheartedly politically, and we do not find a peaceful resolution to this politically, then it's not that they won't die today, but it's that they'll just be alive for an extra year, right? So I think we really have to talk about our priorities, and while it is wonderful in the meantime to donate, to support, all the people on the ground who are doing this wonderful work, I think we also need to leverage our political leaders. We need to leverage our governments, and we need to say, you need to be doing more. We need to be doing more. I mean, I remember in 2011 when we were first talking about, the Syrian conflict, somebody said to me, You know, when is it enough? When are there enough lives lost that we actually move? And I am terrified that we will never reach that threshold because politically we seem very stagnant. So I think it's time that we really do look at what our governments are doing. We really do look at the situation and we say, listen, as many Hamzas and Ismails as there are out there, a lot of them have died doing this work for the past 5 years. And we really need a peaceful resolution for us to realistically look at anything to do with education, healthcare, climate change, or sustainable development. If you cannot walk out of your home safely, I find it very unlikely we're going to be able to look at any of our global goals, or we're going to be able to look at sustainability in the region. So we really need to have a peaceful political resolution to this.
Thank you for those wise words. We're gonna wrap it up here. We've run out of time. I'm going to ask my colleague to turn the camera around. You're speaking to a live audience here in the SDG media zone. I want you to see what you're who's watching your words, your conversation, so you understand. And I'd like the audience to give you if you can turn the camera around, yeah. I'd like the audience to give you a round of applause for the... Thank you. This conversation with you is also going out live on the UN Web TV, webtv.un.org, live to an audience outside the United Nations, outside New York. This is part of the idea of this SDG Media Zone to really build a community, get the word out beyond the conversation that we're having here at the United Nations. Dr. Hamza, thank you very much indeed for taking time away from your hospital, from your patients, and from your wife and daughter. We very much appreciate it. Ismail, thank you very much also for joining us. Thank you both for the work that you do every day to keep hope alive and to keep communicating from that besieged city the situation that everybody, all of us, need to know about. Thank you very much, and thank you to the audience as well for being part of this. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, they're there, so you can turn around and yes, they can. Yeah.
Thank you.